Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant evening to you, wherever you may be. This is Comfortably Zone Radio, and you're listening to Dodgers Baseball, a tale of two cities, from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. I'm your host, Peter Trunk, and my co-hosts are Linda Wilson and Boathouse Bernie Rose. Linda has not joined us as of yet. She may not. We don't know. But, Bernie, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing fine, thank you, out here. Up here, I should say. I'm about, I don't know, what is it, 1,000 miles between us? You're down in Florida. I'm up in Jersey.
Yeah.
And, how did last week's show go? I was on assignment. Did Ralph fill in for me, or how did that work out? Did it work out all right?
Well, things got a little mixed up, but we pulled one off on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Better late than never.
Yeah. It was. I don't know exactly what happened, but I guess Linda and I thought, and you as well, even though you were on assignment, thought it was going to be Tuesday. So
yeah, Ralph told me it was going to be Tuesday. I'm glad it worked out, though. One day late. What the heck?
Yeah, but we actually had a nice show. It was.
I know. I heard
enjoyable.
it. I listened to it. Yeah, it was good. It was very good. I liked it.
Good.
Don Newcomb, right? Don Newcomb?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
all right. Tonight I thought we were, okay.
Yeah.
It always does, doesn't it? It always does. Tonight I thought we would talk about Don Drysdale, a Dodger pitcher who was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1984, whose untimely death at age 56 was horrible, but Don left Dodger fans and baseball fans with a lot of thrills and a lot of great statistics. I'm going to name a few. You know what? Some of them actually amazed me when I looked them over today. And, he won 209 games. And right away you say to yourself, well, 209 games, that's not a lot of games.
How do you get into the Hall with 209?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. The guy, Don, had 4 seasons where he pitched over 300 innings. Imagine that today.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing. He had 5 seasons where he started 40 or more games.
Incredible.
I know. 7-time All-Star. He won the Cy Young Award in 1962. Everybody remembers his consecutive scoreless streak of 58 2/3 innings. In 1968, he pitched 6 straight shutouts.
Yeah. Boy, I was loving that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Right before the Dodgers moved to Los Angeles in 56 and 7, Drysdale came up as a rookie in 56 and won 5 games.
Right.
I think he if I'm not mistaken, he beat the Giants 4 times. I have to look that one up, but I think that's right. And then the next year, he went 17 and 9 for a poor, for Brooklyn, a poor Dodger team with a 2.69 ERA. I mean, 2.69 ERA in Ebbets Field. It was 17 and 9. That was striking to me. And
that's big stuff. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And people remind me all the time whenever the name Drysdale comes up. They say, "Oh man, he was mean. He threw 3/4 buggy whip, and he would knock you down. He would drill you in the ribs. And all that is true. All that is true. And I happen to think, of course, I wasn't there, and I don't know. I was only 10 years old. But I happen to think that Sal Maglie had a lot to do with that. When Sal Maglie came over to the Dodgers in 56, he became friendly with a bunch of Dodgers. One of them was Don Drysdale. And Drysdale seemed to learn a lot of stuff from the barber. He would knock you down. He wasn't afraid to drill you. And
no, he wasn't.
No, he was not. And I remember a game in 1957 at Ebbets Field against the Milwaukee Braves. Johnny Logan. You remember him? He played shortstop for Milwaukee.
I do.
Don't remember Johnny Logan? Okay, Johnny Logan, tough little bugger. He's a tough guy. Anyway, Billy Bruton comes up against Drysdale, and he hits a home run. So Logan is up next. Bruton was the leadoff hitter. Logan hits second. Logan comes up, and Drysdale hits him in the thigh. First pitch. Logan takes his base. The next time Bruton comes up, he hits another home run. Ball for Drysdale. Up comes Logan. Drysdale drills him in the ribs. Well, with that, Logan couldn't take it anymore. So Logan throws his bat away in disgust. And as he's going down to first base, he says to Drysdale, and remember, Drysdale's just a baby at the time. This is 1957. Right. And Logan is a grizzled veteran. And he looks out at Drysdale and he says, hey, Bush, wait until you come down to second base. I got something for you. Drysdale drops his glove. Drysdale drops his glove and says, to hell with second base. Let's dance right now. And then all hell broke loose.
Wow.
All hell broke loose. I mean,
what a great
big fight. A really big fight. It was just an amazing fight. It lasted like 10 minutes. Walter Alston got involved. Gil Hodges got involved. Eddie Matthews got involved. Everybody seemed to be out there. It was quite a baseball fight. And when all was dust settled and everything was over, the league fined Logan and they fined Drysdale. What do you think they fined Logan? $100.
$100.
$100. You know what they fined Drysdale?
What?
You know what they fined Drysdale? $40.
$40.
$40.
Amazing.
That's great. That is great.
It's a different world. I mean, wasn't it a different world?
Like night and day. Nobody was suspended, nothing like that. $100 for Logan, $40 for Drysdale.
That's amazing.
Different thing back in those days. I want to mention one more thing about Don Drysdale. Then I'll back off a little and you can give me your memories of Big Don. In the 65 World Series against the Twins, the Dodgers, in the first game, Koufax was scheduled to pitch, of course, because Koufax.
I was going to bring this up. Yeah, go ahead.
And he refused to pitch because of, Yom Kippur. So he doesn't pitch. Koufax doesn't pitch. So if you're Alston, who do you name to pitch? You name Don Drysdale. So Drysdale will pitch the opener. Drysdale gets raped.
Having 7 runs in 2 2/3.
7 runs in 2 2/3. Unbelievable. Now, Alston goes out to the mound to take him out, take Drysdale out, bring in the relief guy. And when Don Drysdale hands the ball over to Alston, he says, hey, Skip, I bet right now you wish I was Jewish too.
Yeah, that is great. I remember that when I read about it today, and that is right. I was going to bring it up, and I'm glad you did.
Sorry, I stole your story.
That's okay. That's fantastic.
That's a funny story. That's a funny story.
Oh, great. The funny thing for me, well, because, in 1962, when he won the Cy Young, I was 11. But for some reason, you don't remember that he won 25 games that year and the Cy Young because Sandy overshadowed him. Mm-hmm. Everything was Sandy, even though, he won his Cy Youngs, I guess, in 63, 5, and 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was another year he probably should have won if they gave it to Bo Belinsky. And I know you remember, but I wonder how many people remember that in the beginning there was only one Cy Young award for both leagues.
Yes, that's true.
And I forget actually what year they started giving them both. I think it might have been 66 or 7, somewhere in that area. They started giving out to both leagues. And I never really quite got that because they gave an MVP for each league, but they had done that for years. But
yes,
that was very interesting. But yeah, Drysdale was. I remember him more of. I guess it's been so many years. You know, all those years he was an announcer. He was on. He did all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he did.
He even got into football and Wide World of Sports and doing all kinds of stuff. He subbed for Keith Jackson doing college football games. You know, and he was doing all kinds of things. So
he's a very handsome guy, you know. He was a little bit of an actor. Wasn't he in a bunch of TV shows and everything?
He did a few things.
A model and all that stuff. Yeah, he's a big, tall, 6'5", great looking guy.
Right.
Great looking guy, you know. Another thing that people forget, Bernie, is that this guy could hit.
The 7 home runs one year.
He hit 7 home runs in a season twice.
He did it twice. Yeah.
He did it twice. He wound up with 29 lifetime home runs. And he drove in over 100 runs lifetime, too. Yeah, he could hit. He pinch hit in the World Series. He pinch hit in the World Series. He didn't get a hit, but he pinch hit.
Yeah. Well,
pinch hit in the World Series. I mean, you got to have a stick.
That.
You got to have a stick to be asked to pinch hit in the World Series. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to pinch hit him, no doubt. I do remember that. He was, and that 58 2/3. I don't know whether they really should count the 2/3 or not, but that I remember the whole country was getting caught up in that. That was just unbelievable. And
well, I'll tell you what, you're 100% right about the whole country was getting caught up in it, because when Bobby Kennedy won the 1968 California Democratic presidential primary, right before he was shot to death, Kennedy made his speech, his victory speech in that hotel, and he mentioned Drysdale's 6 straight shutouts. In fact,
unbelievable.
Don Drysdale carried a cassette tape around with him everywhere he went with that speech, RFK's Bobby Kennedy's speech, because Bobby Kennedy mentioned him in his 6 straight shutouts. Yeah, that's a fact.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
yes,
I don't even remember that. That is something.
Yep.
Wow. But yeah, a lot of great memories. You know, I couldn't wait for the Saturday afternoon games to see. You know, because they would show the Dodgers and Giants a lot, because they could put it on at 4:00 in the afternoon, and there was a huge rivalry with Willie Mays and McCovey and Cepeda and all those guys, and Marichal, of course, and of course Koufax and Drysdale and everybody. Those were some great games. I used to be on the edge of my seat at the time, and Willie, he'd hit some home runs. They didn't always, you know, they didn't beat the Dodgers all the time. They were both good teams. They split most of the games, but boy, they were exciting games.
They were.
Giants.
Did you ever see Drysdale pitch live? Were you ever at one of his games?
Oh yeah, I'm sure I was. I was trying to get a story in actually a couple of shows ago. This was a shame that I had to go home and watch it on television. I used to get free passes to Yankees and Mets games. I usually went to the Mets because I lived 5 minutes away, you know.
Right.
And back in the days, they had double headers. Remember those?
Oh boy, were they great or what?
And so the Dodgers are coming to Shea Stadium, and the Sunday afternoon doubleheader, Koufax and Drysdale pitching.
Yep.
Can you imagine? For the price of one game. Now I was getting in for free, but
yeah,
you can say how much the Dodgers might have been hated still in New York. You couldn't get in. I mean, I had the free passes. We used to get. They weren't tickets. They were passes. They were press passes.
Right.
But we had to sit in the grandstand. So my friend Ralph, as it was, not Ralph Tycho, but Ralph Levinson. Now, Ralph Tycho would know Ralph Levinson because he knew his older
really?
brother.
Whole world.
And we went to the game, and we couldn't get a seat. The place was packed, and people were sitting on the cement stairs up in the grandstand. When they came and they kicked us out, you can't stand there, you can't sit there rather. And we went down to the standing room only, but you couldn't see. We went home and watched it on television. How's that for a story?
I was probably at those games. I went to all the Dodger doubleheaders when they came to New York. Always used to go. In Polo Grounds the first 2 years, and then at Shea. I used to go see the Dodgers whenever they would come in. And normally, the schedule maker was very smart in that the Dodgers would come in on a weekend. They would come in on a Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and the doubleheader on Sunday. And those games, over 50,000 almost all the time. Didn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
You get a great seat in the lows right behind the plate for what? $250, $350?
Maybe less. Back in the early 60s, 62 and 63 at the Polo Grounds, I think those seats were $1.30.
Unbelievable.
The general admission was $1.30, and then the box seats at the time were like $3.50.
Yeah, I remember the yellow boxes at Shea were like $3.50.
Yep.
I think the lows was $2.50, and the mezzanine was $2 or unbelievable.
Very inexpensive. A lot of money for a kid now.
Well, yeah. You still paid $1.30 to go sit in the grandstand. If I didn't have the passes, we would do it. I went to the game where they finally beat Koufax. I can't really remember any other specific game that I saw Drysdale pitch, which is unfortunate. And I remember Koufax and Marichal were both 18-0 against the Mets because the Mets were horrible. and they were great. And I don't know how many years this one. I don't forget they used to play 18 times a year.
Yeah.
So, in any case, they each finally got him. They finally got beaten. But I was at the game, and if I'm not mistaken, before he became a reliever, it was Tug McGraw who started that game against Sandy. And I think Sandy was something like 18-0 against the Mets. And Tug McGraw, I believe, got the win the first time the Dodgers lost with Koufax pitching to the Mets.
I believe that's true. Yeah.
Isn't that
amazing stuff, boy? Absolutely amazing. The law of averages caught up with Sandy.
Well, yeah. And the Mets, they were the lovable losers.
Yeah, they were that. Until 1969. Then they were the lovable winners.
Yeah. You never saw any. I wish I could compare it to 1955 because I was only 4 years old in 55. But because I can't. I just know that the city went nuts in 1969.
It absolutely did. It absolutely did. At I was at the game. If you remember the '69 series, I know we're getting off of Don Drysdale, but that's okay. If you remember how the '69 series went, the penultimate game, the Mets won 2-1 on a bunt, and Pete Rickard, who at some time in his career pitched for the Dodgers, was pitching for the Orioles in relief. He picked up the ball and threw and hit the runner in the back. Stevenson, I think it was, the catcher, and hit him in the back, and Earl Weaver went crazy. He said he was out of the baseline. You got to call him out. And he didn't call him out. That game ended 2-1. The Mets won it. That game I was at. My older brother Paul had an advertising business at the time, and he had tickets. And not only did he have tickets, but he had sensational tickets. We were like 4 rows behind Jackie Kennedy Onassis.
No kidding.
Oh, they were dynamite seats. And, the Mets won that game 2-1. That was a game, if I'm not mistaken, Swoboda made that catch in right field, that diving catch.
Oh, yeah, that was a great catch.
Actually, it was a dumb play. He should have played it on a bounce, because if that ball got by him, the Orioles win. But that was a hell of a catch, boy. That was a hell of a catch. I was at that game.
It was. That's a great game to be at. Well, here's a couple of stats. Here's a couple of facts for you. The last player on the Dodgers who had played for Brooklyn, and this is out in L.A., of course, was Don Drysdale.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the last one.
That's a great fact. Wow, I love that.
Isn't that something?
It is.
And here's something that is going to make, today's players, think like, man, what are you kidding me? 167 complete games.
Wow.
And 49 shutouts.
Those are great stats. No wonder he's in the Hall of Fame. There you go.
There you go. Because, obviously the game has changed. They didn't have the relief structure the way that it's been for a number of years now. Mm-hmm. And if also they had the 4-man rotation. So
Bernie, it even goes beyond that. You know as well as I do that the Dodgers, Los Angeles Dodgers, used Drysdale in relief. More than a few times. There was a doubleheader where Drysdale won the first game, and he came in and relieved in the second game of the doubleheader. Imagine doing that now. Imagine you take your big stud guy, let's say you take Kershaw or Syndergaard or Arrieta or whatever, and they win the first game. You bring him in relief in the second game. That's crazy. That's crazy. Remember Elroy Face?
Sure.
In relief for the Pittsburgh Pirates. One year, Elroy Face was 18-0.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, he was 18-0. When he finally lost the game, the next season, he lost the game. The press was all around his locker. How does it feel to lose a game? And I'll never forget his answer. It was in the Sporting News. He said, if Don Drysdale can lose 2 games in one day, I can put up with 1 loss.
That's great. What a great statement. I'm telling you, those days were...
You gotta love it.
Oh, yeah. You do. And so that was almost 2,500 strikeouts. So it wasn't... He didn't make the 3,000 strikeouts. He certainly didn't make the 300 wins, but I guess he did enough in between to get in, but then it was a different time.
It was a different time.
Yeah. And he was a popular guy too. Everybody liked him.
Yep.
And maybe he's, like you said, he was the good-looking Hollywood type. He was from California anyway, so. Yes,
he was. Van Nuys, I believe.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, he could do it all, man. I'll tell you. It's a shame because he also was forced to retire at a young age. I think he was 32 or 33. He had a bum shoulder. He had a bum shoulder, and he called it quits. That's like, I love to tell people younger than myself. I love to tell them, well, Kershaw's great, yeah, but you never saw Koufax. So they would say, how good was Koufax? Was Koufax better than Kershaw? I said, well, I'm not prepared to tell you that Koufax was better than Kershaw, but I'm going to ask you a question. When Kershaw retired, what do you think his 1-loss record was his final year? And everybody says, maybe 4-6 or 2-5, his final year when he was hurt.
Yeah.
I said, he was 25-7. They go, what?
Sandy.
I go, look it up. Look it up on your phone right now. They can't believe their eyes.
Well, because they don't
can't
realize
believe their eyes.
He was only 30 years old.
He was 30 years old. Come on. What a
shame.
It was.
What a loss. What a great loss.
He quit at 30. He quit at 30. Drysdale quit at 33. I know. That's young. Very young.
What they didn't have the technology once again. The Tommy John surgery certainly probably was all Sandy needed.
Well, I don't know exactly what his malady was. The more I read about it, and I remember back, I was a grown man when Koufax retired, so I should have been more up on the reading things. Something about arthritis. I think he had arthritis.
Well, that's what they said, but did they really know that? Well, That's
true. That's true.
All through his career, they called it arthritis, but through the years, I've wondered about that, and I've heard it bandied about that, it was his elbow, and
yeah.
And
it was his elbow.
You just have to,
it was Koufax's elbow and it was Drysdale's shoulder that did the thing. Yeah.
They had no arthroscopes for the shoulder, It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's terrible, but they weren't the only ones, obviously, all through. Imagine
if they had arthroscopic surgery then. They made a little dime-sized hole in Sandy's elbow, cleaned it out, vacuumed out all the bits and pieces or whatever was in there, and sewed him back up, and he could have pitched 5 more years maybe. Imagine his statistics.
I'm telling you. Oh, please.
Oh, boy.
There's no question about it.
Oh, boy. He was terrific. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Maybe it was because it was, our time. I'm growing up watching this stuff, and Koufax was my favorite player, and he set the World Series record at the time. Gibson broke it a couple of years later, but the 15 strikeouts against the Yankees at Game 1 in 1963. And I was 12, and the only bad stuff about that was there was no night baseball then in the World Series, and we were in school.
Right.
Unless it was on a weekend, But because obviously they played on Saturday and Sunday. But that game, as I recall, was during the week, and we had to hear about it when we get out of school.
Yeah. Well, we used to get out. We used to have it timed beautifully, though. We used to get out of school and run right to the hardware store where the guy was a baseball fanatic about a block away, and we watched on his set. We would watch the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning right there. So we caught like 80% of those games all the time.
There you
go. So we were pretty fortunate when it came to that. But I always think to myself that it's so what's the word I'm looking for here? Not unfortunate. It's so not fair. It's so unfair. It's so unfair to argue, was Koufax better than Kershaw? That's unfair to me. To me, that's unfair.
Well,
I can argue. Was Koufax better than Gibson or Marichal? They're all finished. They all did their thing. Kershaw is in the middle of his thing. You can't. I get angry. I actually do. I get angry when people start comparing them, and even if they say Kershaw is better or Koufax is better, and stuff, you can't make that argument until the final chapter is written. Now, we don't know what Kershaw is going to do. We don't know what he's going to do. He may pitch 5 more no-hitters. Who knows what he's going to do? He may pitch a no-hitter in the World Series or something. You don't know.
Sure.
You just don't know. You just don't know.
Well, you know what?
So
he looks so sharp this year. You look at some of these games. That's where I was going before. I just remember Sandy's fastball and curveball as just being unbelievable.
Yeah.
now, and I always figured, we'll see what Kershaw can do, but right now you can't put him up there with Sandy. But I'm watching him, and now he's got that nasty slider, and so Kershaw's got the fastball, he's got the curveball, he's got this slider, and he's only 28. What is he? 29, 28?
Yeah.
And it took Sandy a while, to get his act together. So, so he had those 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, he did. He did.
And Kershaw's already had that. It's just that those 5 years, 7 years was so great that he went right into the Hall immediately. But
see, and plus Sandy would start 38 games, 39 games in a season. He would pitch 286 innings. Kershaw's not going to do that.
Exactly.
The Dodgers aren't going to allow that to happen. So you're not going to see, perhaps, you're not going to see 25-7 from Kershaw. You'll most likely see 21-4, which is nothing to sneeze at. But you're not going to see the 25, 26 game winner, 27 game winner like that. Those days are gone. You have to win every game you pitch in order to do that. What is he? He's 11-1 now.
Right, and he's had 14 or 15 starts. Right.
Right. So they're not even halfway done yet. We'll see what he does. He is one hell of a pitcher.
But, he's absolutely. You're never going to see what Sandy did with the 382 strikeouts. You're never going to see that again.
No. Because he's not going to pitch 300 innings. Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
It always bugs
but you know what? But you know what's really cool is that this kid, and I call him a kid, and I can because I'm so old, but Kershaw, I think right now his strikeouts are 133 and his walks are 7.
Yeah.
That's off the chart.
Walk another guy. It's crazy. It's insane.
You know what, Bernie? That is insane. That's almost like Little League. That's out of this world. That's like Wayne Gretzky. Remember Wayne Gretzky? It's like Wayne Gretzky.
Sure.
He put up numbers. He put up numbers that were so mind-boggling. It was like a one of those games you play at the arcade, And that's what Kershaw is doing. Kershaw is he's frightening. He's so good. I was
watching this game last night. Some of those sliders that he was striking these guys out with they look better than his fastball and his curveball. I mean, how much better can he get? I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's unfair that he has a slider. I mean, his fastball and his curve are bad enough. But if you got a hit against him and then he throws the slider, what are you kidding me? That's crazy.
Well, there's one major thing he's going to need to do.
What's that?
He's going to need to beat St. Louis in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't understand,
I don't understand it either.
That was the year they should have went all the way, and they were cruising 6-2 in the 7th inning, and I was shocked. I was just shocked. So he's thrown some good games in the playoffs. He's won a few, but he lost, and then the next one in Game 6, that same series, it was only 2-0, but it was the 7th inning again. And, frankly, Mattingly should have taken him out. I love Kershaw. I think he's great. But after what happened in the first game, I felt like you got to take him out here. I know the guy was a lefty, but I still couldn't believe he hit the 3-run homer. But anyway.
Carpenter? I know.
Yeah. It was, but so he still has, if he takes him, it's been 28 years now, the longest in my life, maybe the longest ever, unless you want to go back to 1912, that the Dodgers haven't gotten to the World Series. So if he could take him there, lead him there, win a couple of games like, Sandy did in 1963 in the World Series, that would certainly cement it, and he could go down, just like what LeBron did. Look what he did. He took Cleveland to
Yeah.
and in a finals team that no team had ever come back in the finals from 3-1, and Cleveland
Right.
hadn't won in 52 years of anything. So
Right.
that's where Kershaw can be if he can lead them to the same thing. So let's hope.
It would be nice. It would be nice. It would be nice. It's very, I know when Linda hears this show, she's going to be saying, "Oh man, I wish I was there so I could add some fuel to the fire there." But someone said on the internet, and I did not look it up because I was too lazy to do it, but they were making comments. Fans were making comments about Kershaw in the postseason, and someone posted, if you take away the one bad game and the one bad inning, even though you can't do that, but if you subtracted the one bad game and the one bad inning, his earned run average in postseason is 1.6.
Is that correct?
Now, I didn't look that up. I didn't look it up. I just read it, and I really don't know if it's true or not. But he wasn't 100% awful.
No. He was fine.
Okay.
I think he had more than one bad game, but
okay.
I could be wrong, and I have nothing to dispute that stat with. But no, he pitched okay. But the team didn't get it done in clutch situations either. So
Yep.
3 years in a row. All these years, the Dodgers never finished in first place 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They never won 2 World Series in a row. They lost 2 in a row. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah.
But
oh yeah.
So you would have liked to have seen them do a little bit more those 3 years, and then the 2 years with Torrey also. So I mean,
right.
They made the championship series and falling short, which was unfortunate for us Dodgers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's baseball. You know how that goes. Baseball is weird. Baseball is a weird game. That's why we love it so much. It's you can never, not that you can predict football or basketball, but that being said, you really, really can't predict baseball. I mean, it's a crazy game, and an inch here, an inch there, whatever. It's wild. And if the pitcher's on, the pitcher's not on, whatever.
Anything can happen at any time.
And usually does.
Yeah.
That's what Red Barber used to say about Ebbets Field. I have old tapes of him on the radio. He used to say, "Come on out, ladies and gentlemen. Come on out to Ebbets Field. See Ebbets Field. Because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen here." And it usually does. And it'll be the first time you ever saw it happen. Come out here to the friendly Ebbets Field, and the game starts at so-and-so. Oh, he used to say some really great stuff, man.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Now the thing about Red Barber. Go ahead. Finish up.
No, what I'm going to do, I want you to know my plan here. Now that I'm back from being on assignment, and I'm back in New Jersey and I'm ready to rock and roll for the rest of the season, I plan on calling my cable service and subscribing to extra innings, which means I'll be able to get all the games, and therefore I will be able to get all the rest of the Dodger games from LA, and I'll be able to hear our beloved Vin Scully for the last few dozen times before he retires.
Exactly. I did the same thing with I don't know, 3 weeks ago.
That's what I planned to do. I was very annoyed the other night. The Dodgers were at home and they were on ESPN, so I couldn't hear Vince. I had to listen to Rick Sutcliffe and Aaron Boone and I don't know who else, but I'm saying, oh man, I wish it was Vince. He would tell me everything I want to know. These guys are talking about some crummy stuff,
Yeah.
What they were talking about.
Sunday night's their thing.
Oh, man.
If it's on during the week, I think you can still watch your own.
Yeah.
Like last night,
Yes.
weren't they on the major network last night? But I was watching it with Vince Scully. So, but Sunday night you can't do it. It's all about ESPN.
Yeah. Yeah, they black it out. Yeah, well, what are you going to do? Well, do you have anything else to add about Don Drysdale or anything else?
Yeah, I had a couple of things, but now I'm going blank here. So,
But
I guess
that one was dynamite. He was the last Brooklyn Dodger to play in Los Angeles.
Yeah, he was the last one.
That's a great fact. I never would have guessed that in a million years.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I found today. Yeah.
If someone walked up to me and said, "Well, you're a big baseball fan, big Dodger historian, and all that stuff. Who was the last Brooklyn Dodger?" But I would have said, I don't know, Junior Gilliam, Johnny Roseboro. I don't know. That is
right,
great.
Johnny Roseboro.
That's a great fact. Well, but that's a great fact. Don Drysdale. That's crazy.
Yeah, because Sandy retired after 66.
Yeah.
So Drysdale was there for another 2 years. But I guess all those infielders, Charlie Neal, Junior Gilliam, they were gone by then, So.
I guess so, yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable. But yeah, he was fun to watch, and it was great talking about him tonight. It was like part of my youth, I was such a passionate Dodgers fan in the 60s. That's when, from 61 when they added the Angels and, whoever else they added that year. I was 10, right straight up through when the Mets won, that year I'm 18. So I was such a big baseball fan. Well, I was actually a big everything fan, but baseball was always number one, so that.
Yeah. True.
I wish we had ESPN then or what you have now, extra innings.
We never would have gone to bed. We never would have gone to bed.
No, we
would have flunked out of school. We'd be up all night watching games.
Almost did anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I want to thank you, my friend, for a great show. And even though Linda didn't make it, we trudged on by ourselves.
On the show, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she would have loved it. Yeah. Well, we'll catch her next time. And I want to thank you for all you've done and all you always do. And,
thank you. A pleasure.
It is a pleasure. Adorable. It is a pleasure. It's a pleasure for me every week. And we'll do it again next week. And next
Tuesday I'm going to be unavailable.
Well, then it doesn't matter because our producer Ralph Tycho he lines these up and he puts them on the internet and Facebook and all that stuff whenever he finishes editing them. So it doesn't matter if we do it Tuesday or Wednesday. So you and I will keep in touch.
Yeah.
And perhaps we'll do it Wednesday. And
I'll be coming home on Wednesday, so Wednesday night would be worth it for me.
It'll work out. It'll work out.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Peter. And you stay well, and I'll talk to you very soon. Okay.
Okay. You
All
bet.
right. Good night now.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.